Three countries, two alphabets, one very awkward Eurovision voting block. But let's be real, if I handed you a map and said point to Latvia, could you do it? No judgment. Most people can't. But what if I told you that these tiny states, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, have been punching above their weight for centuries, resisting empires, preserving languages no one else speaks, and inventing digital citizenship before Silicon Valley even knew what a blockchain was? Welcome to EdNerd Explains, where we slice through the noise to get to the nerdy heart of how the world actually works. Today we're heading northeast, far northeast, to a trio of countries on the Baltic Sea that most people either confuse, ignore, or just assume are part of Russia. But they're not, and they hate when you say that. This video is your crash course into Baltic culture, their languages, art, values, and what makes each of them more than just former Soviet states. Let's get our bearings straight. The Baltic States, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania sit on the eastern edge of the Baltic Sea. Think of them as the northern belt between Scandinavia and Russia. They're small, collectively the size of Missouri, but each has a distinct identity. Estonia, Nordic vibes, tech-savvy, and very into digital governance. Latvia, the middle sibling, rich in folklore, forests, and folk music. Lithuania, Catholic, fiercely proud, and the only one with a history of being an actual empire. Yes, empire. More on that soon. If you thought Spanish and Portuguese were different, get ready. Estonian, related to Finnish, not Indo-European. It's part of the Finno-Ugric language group, which means it has more in common with Hungarian than with its neighbors. And no, that doesn't help pronunciation. Latvian and Lithuanian. Both Indo-European, yes, but Lithuanian is so ancient it preserves elements of Proto-Indo-European. Linguists study it the way paleontologists study fossils. Fun fact. You can kinda understand Lithuanian if you time travel 40 years and speak Proto-Sanskrit. Why does this matter? Because language is resistance. Each country preserved its tongue through occupations, bans, and Russification campaigns. Speaking your mother tongue here isn't just cultural, it's political. You think tie-dye is cool? Try Baltic textiles. In Latvia and Lithuania, national identity is literally woven into fabric. Traditional sashes, called lielvard belts in Latvia, are made with intricate geometric patterns. No two are the same, and were once used as secret codes and status symbols. Estonians, meanwhile, go hard for song. Every 5 years, over 30,000 singers gather in Tallinn for the song festival, Laulupidu. It's not just kumbaya stuff. This was how Estonians peacefully resisted the Soviet Union in the 80s. Music, chantast protest. Let's be blunt, the 20th century wrecked the Baltics, occupied by the Soviets in 1940, then by the Nazis in 1941, then by the Soviets again in 1944. That whiplash left scars, mass deportations, broken families, and ghost towns. Lithuania lost nearly all of its Jewish population in the Holocaust. But here's where it turns. The Singing Revolution, 1987-1991, saw all three countries regain independence without firing a single shot. Peaceful protests, human chains across countries, and cultural defiance. Imagine resisting an empire with folk songs and national costumes. That's Baltic energy. Myth. They're basically the same. Nope. That's like calling Canada, Mexico, and the US basically the same because they're in North America. Each Baltic state has a different religion, language, family, and historical trajectory. Also, Estonia sees itself as more Nordic than Eastern European. And honestly, it kind of is. Flat taxes, digital voting, and a startup scene that puts most of Europe to shame. Another myth, they're pro-Russia. Try saying that in Riga and see how fast you get side-eyed. The Baltics are some of the most pro-EU, pro-NATO countries in Europe, and for good reason. They remember life under Moscow. Estonia even has a museum called the KGB prison cells. Understanding the Baltics isn't just a history flex, it's relevant. These countries are NATO's front line with Russia. If anything kicks off in Eastern Europe, it's probably starting here. Estonia runs e-residency programs. You can be a digital citizen, open a business there, without ever setting foot in Tallinn. Their model of cultural preservation, tech innovation, and democratic resilience offers real lessons for other small countries navigating larger powers, looking at you, Taiwan, and Georgia. And don't forget, they're now shaping EU policies, producing filmmakers, and creating some of the most stunning urban regeneration projects in Europe. So, three tiny nations, each with their own vibe, language, and history, yet united in surviving the 20th century with their identities intact. The Baltics are a masterclass in cultural resilience. They've sung, woven, and coded their way into modern Europe. All while, most of the world kept asking, wait, isn't that Russia? Here's my question for you. Can small countries teach the rest of us how to hold on to identity without losing progress? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you learned something today, or at least know where Latvia is now, give this video a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more geopolitical nerdery from around the world. And remember, culture isn't just tradition, it's strategy.